Hi, everyone. I'm happy to be with you guys virtually. For your Yin Yoga class, we will need 2 blocks and a blanket or anything similar to that you can roll up, maybe a towel. You can also use some pillows. So go ahead and find something similar to this and lay it on your mat. And then go ahead and turn. We're going to get comfortable laying all the way down. So we're lifting up the heart here. If you want a prop for your head, you can bring a pillow or a block underneath. So your head will be lifted, heart lifted, arms down by your side, legs extended out. Go ahead, close the eyes. Try to relax your jaw, relax the space in between your eyebrows. And just start to notice how your body feels. What areas feel light versus maybe a little heavy or some tension. Any areas that are calling out to you. Starting to pay attention to your breath. Going to breathe deeper, sending that air into the belly on your inhale. So you'll breathe through your nose, sending air all the way down into the belly. And then having it fill up, coming up to the chest. Rib cage will expand. And then on the exhale, nose, the air comes out your nose and everything falls back in. And if you'd like to feel this, you can place your left hand over your heart, right hand over the belly, and you'll notice how your breath is changing and altering your body. Making that exhale a little bit longer than the inhale to help tap into that parasympathetic nervous system, that rest and digest, recovery and healing state. On your next exhale, start to activate that ujjayi breath, meaning we're activating the back of the throat. So it'll create a little bit of noise as you exhale. Mouth stays shut, but it'll sound like maybe an ocean. And the muscles you're turning on are the muscles you would use if you're trying to fog up a mirror. Now that we have the breath going, we're turning back to those areas that you felt maybe some tightness and tension. And start to send your breath there. Seeing if you can loosen it up a little bit. taking this time to set an intention for class. Something you need, or maybe it's something you don't need. And gently open up the eyes, remove any props. And start to lay all the way back down, bending the knees. Lift the hips up and then send them down toward the heels just to lengthen your spine. Crown of the head is facing the back of the mat. Chin is lifted a little bit. Start to windshield viper the legs to the right and left. And letting both knees fall over to the left. Staying here, or if you want a little bit more, we're going to stack the knees on top of each other. You might want to adjust that left shoulder a little bit. Maybe even use your hand to hook down on that top leg. And then your right arm can extend out into a T. You can start to look over the right shoulder. Breathing into your belly here, trying to stick to that deep belly breathing throughout class, especially anytime we're twisting. Good. Inhale. We're going to come up through center. Exhale over to the other side, so the right side. So stagger the knees, or we can stack them using that right hand to help anchor the legs down. Left arm can open out into the T as you look over that left shoulder. Feeling your belly rise and fall with your breath. Seeing if you can lift your heart a little bit more toward the ceiling. Next, inhale. You're going to come up. Place your feet down. And now reach for that right knee. Start to draw it in toward your chest, just inside that armpit. So close to the midline. And then extend the left leg out. Start to circle your ankle back and forth. Start to bend that left knee again, and then reach your right leg high. Sole of the foot is facing the ceiling. And you can start to walk your hands behind the hamstring, or start to slowly walk those hands up. You can do behind your calf or maybe even the ankle. And gently on the exhale, you're going to bring that leg in. So you can put a little bend in the knee here. And then start to point and flex the foot. Good. Slowly release on that exhale all the way down to the mat. And now we're going to grab your left knee. Gently start to pull it into you. Looking for that compression, breathing into the organs here. Circling out your left ankle. And then start to bend that right knee as you straighten your left leg, reaching for the hamstrings. Flexing the foot so the sole of the foot is facing the ceiling. And then maybe, if your body allows, start to walk the hands up to the calf or ankle. If you have straps at home, this is also a great time that you can use them. A little bend in the knee. On that exhale, you're going to try to draw it closer to you. And slowly release. Arms down by your side. Coming into a bridge variation. So on your inhale, you're going to lift the hips. So we're rooting down with the feet. Glutes can be engaged here. Quads are also working. And then we're trying to think of the chest coming up toward the chin. If you want to get your hands involved, you can bring them to your hips. So we're breathing here at the top, holding this pose. Back muscles also engaged. Exhale, slowly lowering your hips. We're going to do 2 more of those. We'll go a little deeper as we go. So next inhale, lifting the hips, thinking of that chest lifting toward the chin. So this right here is perfect if you'd like to stay here. If you want to go a little bit deeper, you can start to roll the shoulders underneath you. Moving gently here though, because we really haven't warmed up shoulders too much. So only if this is available to you, maybe interlace the fingers. Nice and slow on that exhale, we're going to come down. Good. One last one. Inhale, lifting the hips. So we're going to play around with this one as well. You can stay here or see if you can lift your right leg up. Place it down and then lift the left leg up. Notice if the sides are different, if one is easier than the other. One more time, right leg lift. And then place it down, left leg lift. And place it down. Exhale, lowering both hips. Good. Bring both your knees into your chest. Give yourself a hug here. Breathing into the belly, feeling it rise among the thighs. Maybe rocking side to side. And then rolling to one side and pressing up into a seated position. So first we are going to come into Sukhasana. So find both sit bones. Lengthen the spine to where it's comfortable for you. So you're not arching your spine, but you're not hunched over, rounding it either. So nice and long, like a string is pulling you up through the crown of your head. hands to your knees. I'm going to start in the shoulders, start to roll the shoulders up towards your ears and then down, making circles. And other direction. Good. Now we're going to release a little bit of tension here. So we've done this one before. You're going to inhale, lift the shoulders to the ears. And then on your exhale, you're going to allow everything to just drop. So the shoulders will come down. And you can even think of something maybe that's bothering you lately, just releasing it, the weight coming off your shoulders. So we'll do 3 of these. Inhale, squeeze the shoulders up to the ears. Exhale, let it go. And you can even sigh out the mouth here too. So really letting something go. So inhale, shoulders come up. Exhale, letting it all go. And last one, inhale, come up. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Nice long inhale. Exhale, sigh it out, let it go. Start to do some neck circles. You can go side to side or half circles, full circles, whatever feels good in your body. Maybe come up and down with your chin. We're going to do one last little fun breathing thing here with our arms. So we're actually going to start with our arms down. And then start to bring your right ear toward the right shoulder as you start to lift your right arm up. Breathing in this whole way, maybe counting to 5 or 8. And then on your exhale, we're going to count to 10, and we're going to lower the arm down as you start to lift that head. So right when you get about halfway, the head is lifted a little bit. Exhaling out the nose. Arm comes all the way down, head is up. Good. We'll do one more on this side. So ear to the shoulder, inhale, lifting that arm, nice and slow. Exhale, lowering the arm, and slowly, slowly going to lift that head back up to that neutral position. Good. If you hold tension in your neck and traps, this is a really good one to do. So we'll do the other side. Left ear to left shoulder. Inhale that left arm up. And then bringing that arm all the way up to the ear. Exhale, coming back down, lifting the head. One more time. Left ear to left shoulder. Inhale. Exhale, slowly coming back. Good. Inhale, both arms up now. Exhale, right hand down, left arm comes up and over. Both sit bones on the ground as you maybe walk that hand out a little bit more or drop down to the forearms. Just making sure the chest is lifted, heart is lifted, and both sit bones are rooted down onto your mat. Slowly coming up, pressing up, reaching the fingertips high. Exhale, other side. Lifting the heart. Tucking the chin. Rolling the left ribs under the right as you twist. Good. Inhale brings you up. Hands to your knees. Let's start to do some seated cat-cows. We're moving that spine in all directions. Inhale. You're going to lift the heart forward, shoulder blades squeeze back toward each other. Exhale, rounding the spine, navel to spine, chin to chest. Inhale, brings you forward. Exhale, brings you back. Doing this with your own breath. Coming back to neutral. We're just going to start to create some circles here. Thinking of your shoulder going toward that knee and then around, shoulder to the other knee and back. Start to make those circles a little bit bigger. And then we'll start to circle it out in the other direction. So starting small. And as you get going, making that circle a little bit bigger. You can exaggerate it here. Kind of like a fun dance move. Might hear some pops and cracks. Good. Coming back to neutral. Release your ankles. Bring them in front of you. We're going to come into butterfly. So the soles of the feet are going to touch and then scoot those heels in toward you. Inhale, we're going to lengthen. Belly is fully relaxed here. Exhale, start to lean forward. Inhale, come up. Now bump the feet out just a little bit away from you. So not in the full diamond pose, that's next. And not in the butterfly we were just in where the feet were very close to us. Inhale, exhale, fold forward. Notice the difference here. Might feel a little bit better on your knees to have the feet a little further away from you. Inhale, come up. And lastly, that diamond pose. So scoot the feet even further from you. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, fold. Inhale, come all the way up and extend those legs out. We're going to come into our straddle. So if you want, you can grab your block, place it in front of you. It's going to be a target for us. So heels pressing into the ground. You can feel that you're right on top of those sit bones. Spine is tall. Inhale, and then exhale, start to walk the fingertips out. Going to your limit here. So this is always kind of a tight one because those adductors are, for most people, pretty tight. So slowly get into this one. We got to stay here for a little bit to really allow the body to open up. And see if we can make those Micro adjustments going a little bit farther into the pose on the exhale. Staying with that deep belly breathing here. Almost there. See if you can just go a little bit further as you exhale. Nice work. Slowly walk those hands in. Moving slow, just like we were when we got into it. Bringing your legs together. And just pausing here. Noticing how they feel, where you feel that stretch. And then shake it out. So for this next one, we're going to use our block, seated forward fold. See if you can place it at the bottom of your feet. Inhale, you're going to reach up. Exhale, start to reach forward for your toes, maybe for the block. If you have that block, you're going to grab onto it and then allow the shoulders to relax and melt down. Head relaxed as well. Maybe you want to fire up the quads here. So really stretching the whole backside of the body. This is also kind of a tough one that we have to hold a little bit just to allow the body to open up. Sometimes when you have a proper block, that can kind of help leverage you a little bit deeper and gives you something to hold on to. It can almost make it, in a weird way, a little bit easier. Inhale, start to release that prop. Walk your hands up. Start to bend your left knee, placing your foot inside the thigh. And then you can bump that right leg out a couple of inches. Inhale, exhale with the left hand. You're going to reach around the edge of the right foot and start to lean forward, thinking of folding at your hips instead of your back. So try to keep that back straight. And then coming down once you can't go any further. So if you laying all the way on your leg starts to really round the spine, I would rather you stay up kind of high on the fingertips and think about the spine lengthening and being straight, or more straight than it would if you were to hunch over your leg. Opening up your hamstring and working the back. Good. Inhale. We're going to come out of this and just switch legs. So bring the left leg out. Bend the right knee. Bring that foot inside the left thigh. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale. Right hand to the outside of the left foot. So thinking of lengthening the spine and then going forward and then eventually kind of melting down as long as that back is engaged and you're folding at the hips instead of the low back. Slowly release, come on up. And then we're gonna make our way into child's pose. So go ahead and grab your blanket. A couple different options here. Bringing our big toes to touch, knees wide, sending the hips over the heels. Start to walk the hands out in front of you, and then allow your head to come down to the mat so it's not just floating there. So if you have your block, you can place it underneath your hands, and still your forehead will come down to the mat, or you can lower the block and place your hands on there. Or we can grab our blanket, place your blanket just behind your knees, creating a little extra space here. And then pressing back into that child's pose, and then no block in front of us. Walking the hands out. Forehead to the mat. Sending that breath into the belly. Coming back to your intention that you set for class. Next, inhale, you're going to start to come up out of your child's pose. You can either come right into your tabletop and start to just shift the hips side to side, create some circles over the ankles. Or if you would like, tuck your toes, send the hips high, downward facing dog. You can walk it out, bending one knee and then the other. So you're either in tabletop or down dog. We're all going to meet back in tabletop here in just a moment. If you're in down dog, fingers are really spread wide as you're pressing firmly into the mat, lifting up through your armpits, lengthening that spine, lifting the hips up, neck is relaxed. Good. And then slowly start to bring those knees down so we're all in tabletop. We'll do some cat-cows together. Inhale, belly drops, gaze and tailbone start to lift. Exhale, round the spine, chin goes to the chest. Moving with your breath, trying to keep your arms straight. And if you like to hyperextend like I do, just check in on those elbows, sending the eyes of the elbows toward each other as you move. Returning to your neutral tabletop. Inhale, lift the right arm up. Exhale, thread the needle, bringing the hand behind the left hand. Right shoulder onto the mat, side of the head meets the mat. We're going to shift those hips to the left as you press in with the left arm, twist the chest open. Next, inhale. You're going to slowly bring that right arm all the way up. Exhale, place it down. Other side, inhale, lift the left arm high. Exhale, thread the needle coming onto that shoulder, side of the head meets the ground. Sending your hips to the left just a little bit. Pressing with the right arm into the ground as you twist, that chest goes up. Inhale, left arm reaches up. Exhale, place it down. Step that right foot in between your hands. And then you're going to start to come up, tucking the tailbone, reaching your arms up overhead, and then interlace those fingers, allow them to come onto the right thigh as you shift the weight forward. So really opening up your left hip flexor here. Exhale, hands to the mat. Start to straighten that front leg, toes pull up toward you. And this is a good one too, to try to pay attention to that back. See if it's really rounded. Maybe come up on the fingertips or find your blocks. The spine's going to round a little here, no matter what we do. But if we can bring our hands onto our blocks, that definitely helps. And we're still getting that stretch in the hamstring and appropriately working the back muscles here too. Now, since we have our blocks, if you want to keep them underneath your hands, feel free. You're going to start to release that. Inhale, bend the front knee, and then start to bend that back knee. You can stay here or reach with your right hands to grab the foot and gently bring the heel in toward the sit bone, opening up that right shoulder. Slowly release. Start to tuck the back toes. Keep that left hand either on the block or you can place it all the way on the mat. Pull your right hip back. Inhale, right arm goes high, staying here or lifting the knee off the mat. Good. Exhale. I'm going to lower the knee and then bring the right hand down. Step that right knee back, tabletop. You can shift the hip side to side. And then when you're ready, step your left foot in between your hands. You can have those blocks nearby. Inhale, we're going to come all the way up, tucking the tailbone, engaging the core, lifting the fingertips high. Interlace the fingers, bring them to the leg, and then shift that weight forward to open up that right hip flexor. Couple of breaths here. Grab the blocks. Exhale, we're sending those hips back for half splits. Toes start to pull up. You can even shift the heel forward a little bit if that feels good too. Lengthening the space as you fold at the hips. And that knee may bend a little bit. That's okay. Working into the hamstrings. Inhale, bend the front knee. You can keep the blocks or set them aside. And then start to bend that back knee, holding here or reaching with your left hand for the foot or those toes. Draw the heel in, open up the shoulder, lifting the heart. And slowly release. You can keep that block under the right hand or bring your hand all the way down to the mat. Tuck the back toes. Inhale, lift that left arm high. Pull the left hip back and staying here or starting to lift that knee off the ground. Shoulders stacked on top of each other. Feeling the stretch. Exhale, place the left hand down, lower the knee, and bring it back into your tabletop, shifting hips side to side. All right, we're going to come into our pigeon pose next. Or actually, no, we're going to do one more pose. Bring your right foot in between your hands. You can tuck the back toes. You're going to heel toe your right foot out once or twice, and then start to open up the foot so you're on the edge of that foot, using your right hand to press on to the thigh. And then you're going to start to twist, thinking of the heart lifting up. So making sure that we're staying centered and you don't start to dip down into that left hip. Cricket monkey here. All right, bringing the right hand back. Heel toe that foot in. And then bring it back into your tabletop. One last thing on this left side here before we get into pigeon. So step the left foot in between the hands, heel toe the foot out once or twice, whatever feels good to you. Start to open up that foot, open up the leg, coming to the edge of that left foot. Right hand is planted, shoulder over the wrist, and then using the left hand to gently just open up that leg. And then again, we're going to try to think of the hips. Are we centered as we open that leg, or are we dipping down? It's real easy to dip into the right hip. I have a tendency to do it as well, especially on this side. So trying to stay squared off, hips to the front of the mat, and then opening up that left leg. Good. Slowly releasing, coming back, tabletop. All right, now it's time to get into our pigeon pose. So we're going to bring your right knee, we'll start with the right side, in between your hands, and then start to bring that shin out. So it's at a diagonal. If you're feeling pretty good, you can bring the knee more toward just behind your right wrist. Otherwise, we'll leave it in between the hands. Start to walk the back leg further back. And you can keep those toes tucked, or you can untuck them and lay the top of your foot down. It really doesn't matter. It just depends on what feels better for your knee. And then staying, pressing into the palms, or maybe dropping down to the forearms, or coming all the way down. And kind of same thing here. We don't want to just dump into the right side of the hip or the left. We want to stay kind of centered right in the middle, balancing in between both of them. Sticking with your breath and intention. Nice and slow. Start to press into those palms. Maybe tucking the back toes now if they weren't already, so we can start to inch our leg forward, lifting the hips. And then you can either come back to tabletop and kind of shift the hips, shake it out, or press back into a downward dog, three-legged down dog, shaking out the right side. You're just moving the leg. And then we'll get right into pigeon pose on the left side. So left knee in between the hands. If you're feeling a little more open, maybe we bring that left knee behind the left wrist. Shin is at that diagonal that feels comfortable for your knee. You're going to walk the back leg further back to the back of your mat. Get as comfortable as you can before we start to lower, or maybe we stay high, pressing into the palms. And slowly coming back, pressing into the palms, tucking those back toes, lifting the hips. Doing whatever you did on the other side to kind of shake it out. Coming all the way down onto your mat and bringing a block, well, actually both blocks with you. Slowly rolling back. Grabbing your block, keeping it probably on the lowest setting. You're going to inhale, lift the hips, and place your block underneath the sacrum. If you want, you can go one more setting high. So you're at that middle setting. So you feel the block doing the heavy lifting here. Lower body is relaxed and it's inverted without you really having to do much. You can return that left hand to the heart, right hand to the belly. Still actively breathing into your belly here. Staying here. If you want a little bit of a change, we're going to lower the block to the lowest setting if it's not already there. And start to lift the legs up. So a nice inversion for us here. You can play with the ankles. Play with your toes, bending your feet, ankles, toes, anything you can. Just creating some movement here. Maybe start to bend the knees. Start to draw them into you. Having that prop help guide the legs in toward your chest. And then release the knees, bringing your feet all the way down. Lifting the hips just so we can slide that block away, and then lowering them all the way down. And noticing if you feel any kind of cooling sensation or heating sensation. That's just the blood returning back into the lower body. From here, start to lift the feet up. Coming into your happy baby. So bringing your peace fingers to your big toes to hook on. Or we can grab the edges of the feet. Bringing the knees closer to the ground. Ankles stacked over the knees. And then lastly, thinking of the tailbone and where it is, trying to lower it down if it's lifted. And slowly release, coming into a reclined butterfly. So here we'll use both our blocks. You don't have to, but sometimes it can feel nice to use the blocks under the knees. Soles of the feet come together, knees wide. May or may not be using those blocks to help prop the knees up. Left hand to heart, right hand to belly. Breathing here. Noticing where your thoughts go. Just bringing them back to your breath, to your intention. You can focus on your breath by telling yourself that you're breathing in as you breathe in and saying, I am breathing out as you breathe out. Or you can count your breath. So giving the monkey mind something to do will help keep you present. If you're counting your breath, you want to extend those exhales a little bit longer, just telling your body everything is okay, slows the heart rate down. Next inhale, you can bring your hands down to your legs. Gently start to bring them up together. If it feels good, you can windshield wiper the legs to the right and left again. Extend the right leg all the way down, the left leg all the way down. And then your arms down by your sides, or you can do out in a T, whatever feels good. You can even do arms overhead. Trying to relax everything here as we tap into our Shavasana. Breathing in through the nose and then sighing out the mouth. Shavasana. Taking a big inhale, filling up the body with this new energy that you've created. Moving around fingers and toes. Moving your head side to side. Bending your knees. Rolling over to one side. Just taking a moment here to send yourself some love and gratitude for making time for yoga. Remembering your intention. Pressing up into a seated position. Noticing how you feel here. Maybe a little lighter. Breathing is a little easier. Bringing your hands to heart center. Namaste. Thank you guys. See you next time.